Is that true that the correspondence between the types in Myers-Briggs and Socionics occurs more often not one-to-one, but through partial imposition? The question about Socionics and Myers-Briggs, there is a huge difference in the description of socionical types and types in Myers-Briggs. Myers-Briggs is a more outdated typology because it appeared in 60s, and it has very poor methodology of typing. It has description that consists of behavior description. Some random people have been described as one type, and it has very vague criteria for typing. There is no equality between Myers-Briggs types and socionic types. As far as I can see, according to the descriptions in Myers-Briggs, some types in Myers-Briggs have not been met and have not been described well. For example, ethical intuitive extrovert, which is called Hamlet in Russian socionics, is described in Myers-Briggs like any extroverted ethic. It has no any differences that can distinguish him from other types. This situation happens with many types. Logical sensory introvert is described just like any rational sensation type. So there are many questions to Myers-Briggs. Dichotomy between periphery and center. It is very important dichotomy. It is connected directly with quadra values. The main thing about central quadras is time and fight and resources and danger and power and all the questions that connected with these topics. So for central quadras, it is important to use the time efficiently to avoid dangerous situations and to take into account that the world is not a safe place. I'm very roughly and very briefly speaking about this. So central quadras take these questions into account. They have that in their scope, in their attention, while periphery quadras do not describe such things. They are living in, we call it, they live in a safe world, a world where nothing threatens you, while the central quadras are having a thought somewhere in the background or somewhere in front of their eyes that the world is quite a dangerous place, and you should be aware of that. So black sensation valuable gives such direction of attention to some extent. Of course, if we take black sensation types from beta and gamma, they have most attention to these questions. That is why they are often politicians. And intuitive types from central quadras, the same, take into account these questions, but not to such a large extent. Unfortunately, I cannot recommend any descriptions of types. We have our descriptions in Russian, and we provide those descriptions after a person had typing in our center. And if somebody appeals to us in English for typing, I try to make a translation of our description, because we are not satisfied with all previous authors in socionics that gave their variants of descriptions. They have many things too subjective. They have many, for example, Stratievska. It's not a scientific description, it's a fiction. It's a complex of impressions about some random people. Like in Myers-Briggs, it's just a description of behavior of some person with no strict connection with any significant features in type, like aspects, quadras, and so on. Realization. There is no bright features that have been shown in these descriptions that help to distinguish this type from another. And it is a problem of many descriptions of many authors in socionics. Their descriptions are too similar, and sometimes you cannot tell apart two types.